Alright, aging tools, another key. Okay, so this is one I've seen a lot in schools. So let's have a conversation heart to heart about Flash. I absolutely loved Flash. It was one of my favourite tools. You could put everything into one file, you could have your music, you could have your sound, you could have your video, all in one file, you could move around nice and easily. You could do lots of little fancy things with sometimes 3D graphics, sometimes vector graphics. It was a lot of fun. Adobe, go on their website, they'll tell you how awesome it still is. Bethesda used it actually for their interface in Fallout 4 and in Skyrim, so that's how they've been able to modify that, because it was easily just changed in Flash. But keep in mind, these are the searches for ActionScript. This is it back in 2004, and this is where we are now. So if you're teaching Flash and you're teaching ActionScript, you might be teaching something that's a bit dead. So what can we do about that? We can let it go. Just let it go. If you're still teaching Flash and using it for animation, great tool, use it for animation. If you're doing that, you're not actually teaching IT, you're teaching media arts. So my father at the back here is the head of the South Australian Association of Media Educations, SAMI. Join, talk to them. You're doing media arts and you should be doing media arts the way it should be taught. You should learn about doing storyboards, you should learn about doing all those things. A lot of schools are not teaching media arts and we should be. So do learn about media arts if you're teaching that. The other one, if you're an international visitor or from somewhere else, we have the Media Educators Engaging Together Facebook group. You can connect to that one as well. And there'll be resources and things on there. You can connect to each other and talk to each other about media arts. If you like the object-oriented sort of being able to code directly onto things, Scratch does the same sort of thing. Yes, you're not directly typing the code, but the same sort of concepts exist there. Use JavaScript, so get them to use a basic HTML setup and then use JavaScript to do your programming. Not only is it quite flexible in terms of how they can move it around, it means they can play with it on their phone, they can show other people in a whole bunch of other ways. They don't have to have Flash, mum and dad can play it on their tablet. If you're doing games, move to an actual game engine. So Game Maker is great for 2D. It's got a drag and drop interface for really simple in the beginning. You can also use Game Maker's language, so GML, when you want to get into the programming. There have been professional games made with that. So the one I mentioned earlier, Undertale, was made with Game Maker. So, and they've made plenty of money out of it. If you're going into 3D, look at Unity and Unreal. Unity also has a 2D setup, so that's probably a little bit more advanced than using Game Maker. So those are your other sort of options. In terms of Flash, who here remembers Director? Anyone remember Director? Yeah. Poor little Director. It used to be sort of the big sister of Flash, and that's where we went if we wanted images, if we wanted to do video and stuff like that. Flash could only do vector a really long time ago, back in the Macromedia days. And the Flash sort of slowly built up and then took it over. So actually the player for Flash is still called Shockwave, which is the file that Director made, not the file that Flash made. And then Flash just sort of took it over. That product is still available from Adobe. Hasn't really been updated since 2012. But it is still available, they still sell it. So don't trust Adobe to tell you when something's dead, because they will keep flogging it as long as they can. So Flash is on the decline. I would just say, let's just move on from it. The last part of my actual career in Flash was just creating online adverts, because being one little file, they're still really great for doing adverts, and really that's just basic animation and understanding files, the Flash's compression format, to be able to try and get those adverts down to less than 40 kilobytes, because no one wants to pay bandwidth for looking at an advert. So I can't really say I was happy with the later part of my Flash career. In terms of using Notepad and Dreamweaver, Dreamweaver is clunky and slow. It has some really good functions in it. It has its templating tools, so if you're going to use Dreamweaver, use the template tools. That is probably its most valuable resource, but it is really slow. Setting up all the site stuff, etc., can get a little bit annoying. Notepad++ is still in development, but it's sort of fallen behind in terms of its game. So Atom.io is created by GitHub, who are a major software developer. Software developer supporting company. It is hackable, so hackable is not a bad word. Hackable means that we can change it ourselves. We can use JavaScript to create extensions. We can add really cool functionality to it. We can do stuff like hinting. We can add on automatic closing and tagging. All of that is optional. So you put as much bloat into that system as you want to have, and then it'll run as quickly as you want it to run. So you can have it just as a really basic text editor, or you can kit it out with all these different properties that you think are really cool. It also means that it'll work across a lot of different programming languages. So Sublime takes Bracket.io, which was created by Adobe, are also similar solutions. Important things about these over Dreamweaver, I don't think it's implemented it yet, is that you can have multiple carrots. So you can select down multiple lines and do mass changes really quickly and easily, which again, you should be using these tools because doing those mass changes is a part of computational thinking. So if you're going, how do I teach computational thinking? It's all about thinking about process, how to help people manipulate data, how to do things automated or change things. Using different tools will help you do that sort of automation. The other option is actually using browsers now. Browsers have gotten a lot better. You can actually save HTML files straight from browsers. Browsers will give you suggestions on what you're typing. So if you're editing your CSS, you'll actually see some browser suggestions on your CSS as well. And that's a great tool because that's one everyone already has. You don't even need to install it. In terms of changing your software or upgrading your software, the other thing I'd say is go free. There are lots of students that you'll be teaching who won't become a digital worker, but they might be working for a veterinarian clinic who suddenly want this picture to be fixed because they took a really awesome picture and they want to put it out on their newsletter, they want it fixed. They need a solution that they don't have to pay a lot of money to Adobe for to be able to use. So it's all in your little booklet as well. GIMP is an unfortunately named replacement for Photoshop. Luckily most of the kids don't understand that, and the ones that you do, you just nod at them. Sumo Paint is an entirely in-browser one. Likewise, we have plenty of other in-browser ones. Sculptress I've seen quite a few times. Please stop. It's alpha software. It crashes all the time because it's alpha software. So Blender has sculpting tools. Blender you can run off a USB if you want to. There's also SculptGL, which is like almost identical and runs in your browser. So, and that gets updated. That doesn't just crash on you and destroy all the work that you've been doing. There are so many different CADs. There's plenty of online ones. As I said, there's sessions later on about doing CAD in browser. Yes?
What OS do you run?
Depends on what you're going for. So GIMP is available on Linux, on Mac, on
What OS do you run? What OS do you run?
I run Windows because it's cheap. I would run Linux if I could be bothered, but I can't be bothered. It requires a lot of effort. If I had loads of money, I'd use Mac. I've used Mac at plenty of workplaces, then come home to my Windows machine. The balance between them has always sort of flicked backwards and forwards. I pretty much say to most people, I think all computers are a little bit stupid, so just use them all. Figure out how to use each of them. So plenty of different options there. You've got them in your handout. Right, I think we're beyond half time. Alright, I have an activity. I'll show you what it is and you can do it at home. So I was a bit concerned, as you are when you're presenting. So the activity here, you can use it on tablet, not recommended, but it will work. I've sort of managed to make it work. Use it in Chrome or in Internet Explorer, right click, go inspect element, and then adjust and do as you need to for that. So in terms of that activity, I've designed that one as one that you could consider doing. It's all online, so it's using JSBin. JSFiddle for that one, but you could be using JSBin, plenty of other tools. That's something that you could be running with your Year 11s and Year 12s to design these little CSS tests, and then you could be using those little tests with your Year 8s and Year 9s, and that becomes a sort of integrated across the year levels thing. So I haven't tested it. I'm only 6 months in, so it's a prototype. So feel free to extend it, play on it, contact me about it as you feel. So real life brief examples. Are you sure? So this is some of the examples from SACE. So they're from a variety of solutions. You'll see there's a lot of I's in here and plans, and they're sort of just talking at the beginning. Now, this is the way you should be teaching it. This is what's getting marked. So I'm just prefacing with, all right, I'm going to show you actual brief examples, but this is what you should be doing. So don't forget, this is what you should be doing. So this is to complement what you should be doing. So I got contacted about doing some character design work. That is the exact quote of the email I got about it. One of the important things to notice here is there's not a lot of money in it. So you'll find that almost every single brief talks about money. So, and almost every single brief talks about money without numbers, because no one wants to commit to how much money they're going to spend, and you have to sort of dance around each other until you sort of get to that point that you can shake hands and go, all right, let's talk actual dollar symbols. So this is the image that he also provided me with. So you already had a little bit of an idea of what he wanted to do. So the main brief of it was, hey, I just want something in 3D. I don't want you to spend a lot of time on it. I don't have a lot of money. Do what you can for me. How much fun do you want to have? That's the end result. So that one's created in Blender using the freestyle drawing engine, so that it creates the outlines for you as well. So that sort of work. Very short brief. Not a whole lot of information there. The brief comes from me creating something and sending it back to him and him going, no, it needs to be more sassy. I want to see more sass in my electronic eye. And then you sort of build that brief as you talk backwards and forwards. Website upgrade. We need to reduce costs and like to manage ourselves. That's all I got. So, in terms of brief, that would fail safe. That's not enough of a brief. But the brief evolves. This is my response. I've cut it down quite a lot. So here's all your options. Here's how you can save some money. Here's how you can get away from me. I don't mind if you leave me. You will be surprised how many clients actually decide to stay with you because you give the option to leave. They're actually, oh, I'm not stuck with you. I can leave. Okay, I'll stay. Lots of different options there. Talking about actually moving away from websites altogether, using Facebook, use Wikipedia, actually connect all your different source entries together, because you know what, why do we have to have a website anymore? If you have your Facebook page, you have your Twitter thing, you have your Instagram thing, what more information do you actually need to give out to people if you just have all of these connected together? So ultimately they decided that they wanted to go with a self-hosted solution, which was a WordPress website. They wanted to make it as simple as they could, so they wanted to work off a standardized template. So this is pretty much using the main standard template with a little bit of adjustment here and there just to give it some flavor and make it not look stock standard. So some of you might have met Mike Donaldson throughout your careers. He's an English teacher. He's also a young story writer, so you might have picked up some of his books as well. So lovely man, and he and his wife are able to manage that website, and they talk to me occasionally about, oh, I'm not sure what to do this. I send them back a sentence. I don't charge them for it. They're still really happy. They'll come back to me when they decide they want to upgrade because they've got enough work. So, briefs gone wild. These are some of the lovely things I've heard over the years. I'll know what I want when I see it. I've been saying, you tell me how much I should spend. And you just sort of dance backwards and forwards. How much budget have you got? Well, you tell me how much I should be spending or something. Go, well, how good do you want it to be? Well, I'm not sure. You tell me. How good should I need? And you just sort of bounce backwards and forwards. We'll do this pro rata, and I'll give you exposure. Never works. If you've never come across oatmeal, oatmeal's hilarious. That particular article is all about doing web development and all the pitfalls of it. Quite funny. You get people who think that they're really savvy and they tell you, it just needs to evoke feeling, and you go, well, what feeling? Just want them to feel. You try to figure that out, and it'll need to go to committee, and that's the most common one when it comes to government websites. So it goes off, and 10 hours later you get another email saying, hey, we'd like you to come into a committee meeting to discuss it with all these other people, and then one person in the committee says, oh, my brother-in-law, he does web development, he says he can do this cheaper, and you just end up down this big old rabbit hole of craziness. So these are all sort of the things that you look out for if you're getting a brief from someone or you're having a conversation about a brief. So in terms of briefs, the big takeaways would be think about briefs as evolving things. So when your students are either writing them at the beginning or the end, they should be writing them the whole way along. They should be adjusting their briefs and saying, you know what, actually I've realised that this isn't going to work. I've had a conversation with myself or I've had a conversation with my client. I'm going to adjust it. There's no reason why you can't reflect that in your brief as well. So I didn't see anything in saying that there's anything wrong with you saying that your brief has actually got a few paragraphs that's saying why the brief changed as you worked through it. So if you need to get around IT, because you've got problems with IT, use your browser. That's probably one of the biggest things. There's plenty of browser tools. So you've got that little list earlier. Consider using those. They're easy to find. The only thing you need to do is maybe get them off the filter if they're being filtered. If you're trying to do dynamic websites and you're really struggling with trying to set up a server and stuff like that, there is Contentful. It is a paid system, but there is a free tier that you can use. Students get to go through doing data design in terms of that. They're not doing necessarily the code of how it works in terms of the server side, but they will still need to create JavaScript to pull all that content in from Contentful. There are a few other solutions as well. So this one's if you want to self-host it. You could also just be using Element.io. That's another free alternative as well. But Contentful I have used before and it's reasonably easy to use. You can use Pastebin style websites, so like the example I've given you, to actually create websites as well, and that's all hosted online. You can use any other sort of online imager or something like that to put up all your pictures as well. So use the free services that are around and available to you to create websites online without even having to upload to a server as well. So there's plenty of options. Be a part of the IT crowd. Good old IT crowd, if you haven't watched it. Don't put Google into Google, it'll destroy Google. Think about ways that you can make their lives easier and they'll be friendlier to you. So if you're using open source software, they don't have to do licensing stuff. So they might need to think about security in relation to it, but at least they don't have to do licensing, they don't have to organise purchase orders and stuff like that. Make sure that you're giving them plenty of time. Don't turn up to them and just say, hey, I need this done now. Like, you hate it when it happens to you, don't do it to your IT staff. And you'd be surprised the amount of teachers who forget that. And they go straight up to the IT person and say, you know what, I've been planning this for 4 weeks, but I need it now. Why didn't you tell me 4 weeks ago? We could have discussed this. Right? Really simple, be friendly. Go talk to your IT guys. You know how depressing it is being an IT guy, and the only thing you ever hear is people coming into the office to go, this is broken, this isn't working, this is stupid, why is this filter so horrible? It is depressing. They need people to come in and actually be friendly to them and to ask them how their jobs are going.
One of the guys turned around and said exactly that to me. He was like, hey, because I come in and I said, oh, yeah. And he was like, hey, how are you today?
Yeah. So you'd be surprised. If you're already friendly, they will tell you what's happening in the school. They will give you recommendations and things that they saw that they thought was cool. If you're not being friendly, if you're just constantly going in with problems, they're not going to be giving out all that interesting stuff that they've found themselves.
I should know that because I did the job for like 3 years.
So keep thinking about it being an us. Schools are a collective. Lots of people sort of put that line between teachers and IT. If you're an IT teacher, you should be a part of the IT team. Sure, you're not providing support all the time, but it should be an us thing. So when you're thinking of something really cool and new, talk to your IT team about it so that they have an idea of what you're thinking about, and then they can go, actually, you know what, I had another teacher talk to me about this in science. This would be really cool. I could suggest that to them. So you create a team. Report equipment when it's broken. Like, I've had so many IT guys go, oh my god, you're a relief teacher and you brought in a broken laptop? Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, because it sucks to have all this broken equipment out there and you have to run around the whole school looking at every single bay of like laptops going, oh, which ones are broken? If I see it's broken, I can distribute that effort, I can bring it to you. And they're really grateful for that. Share your research with them, so that's a part of being the us. Alright, I won't do the computing for this one, so these are just some little ideas on integrating traditional and modern materials. So this is for a butts night, that's what you do, using school facilities. So, really complicated setup for screen printing. I bought one of those $4 canvases. bought some on sale veil material for wedding dresses. So that was particularly cheap, created it just with some duct tape. I think it figured out to like about $3 for that screen print. I bought like a $1 or $2 squeegee to pull it through. The piece of paper is cut using a laser cutter. So just have to use a stencil method, but doing the design with the laser cutter means that I can cut it out. That will only make it like 4 or 5 prints before that paper falls to pieces, but the laser cutter can cut it in about 3 or 4 minutes. So I had about 4 or 5 of them for all the t-shirts. If I rip one, oh well, I'll just cut out another one. If you ever do traditional screen printing with the stencil method, students will take about 2 hours or 3 hours to cut out that piece of paper, and it becomes the most precious thing in the world. So when you go to screen print it, you generally only get 1, maybe 2 screen prints out of it. Looking at doing it with laser cutting is a really great way of getting around that problem, and you can do the design process on the computer. Likewise with placards, those were really, those were for the Australian Education Union recently in their March. So just coloured paper, getting it cut out, I could produce a whole bunch of professional grade looking placards very cheaply, easily, just using resources available to me, which is like coloured card that I could get for free. So it's a good way of doing copy-paste, sticking sort of activities, but also using the laser cutter to get professional level quality. Pyrography, you can do it with your laser cutter. So this is, the photo is a little bit blurry, but when it's focused, you just get those lines, provided that you've reduced the amount of energy that you're putting in. If you up the amount of energy that you're putting in and you unfocus your laser, you actually end up with a pyrography style burn onto your wood. So you can actually do some really impressive illustration style work. Obviously it all needs to be lines. It can't be field work. If you're doing field work, then that will go to the engraving. So again, this is a really great way of teaching kids about using specialized tools in Illustrator. So in this case, this is using the scribble filter to be able to create a line. And that then creates that sort of effect. Then you can look at doing stippling work and stuff like that using, again, only lines, not using any sort of fill. You get quite an interesting effect out of it. This is using, this one's sort of getting a little bit further away from traditional work, but in terms of getting traditional design happening, so that's typical Chinese or Japanese one. So that was actually modelled in Blender to be able to create the actual depth of it. Then you can set it up to render the depth, and then use that rendered depth to be able to then engrave it. So that's taking a few traditional patterns that you might have hand carved or you might have seen, modelling it in 3D, generating that depth pattern, and then creating that as a new piece. So you could consider doing that sort of stuff as an integrated unit in terms of artistic work in 3D, and then turning it into another piece.
Yeah, as well.
You use it for block printing as well. Food, so glass, sugar glass, which is not too hard to make, provided you make it thin enough. So in this case, this is the good cut. I need to cut it about 4 times at a lower power because the glass will eventually melt in on itself. But you can do that. You can also do it with twills, which are really thin pieces of food. So generally cheese or some sort of cracker or something like that, you can use it for cutting it. Keep in mind it will add a little bit of a burn flavour because it does burn at a high temperature. You can also use jeans in your laser cutters as well. You can do like sort of weathering effects, but then actually do a pattern on it. You can use any natural fibre felts to cut out shapes as well. So it's a great way, particularly if you're dealing with students with additional needs. Laser cutters are a great way of allowing them to create really impressive designs that they don't have to have the dexterity to be able to cut out. Okay, in terms of the 3D printers. So if you've got a 3D printer, have a look at doing acetone vapor or acetone wash. So that is a traditional process. Great way of turning, so that's a 0.3 print, turning it into a nice shiny, looks like it's almost been, I can't think of what the term is, injection molded. Looks almost like it's been injected molded. Obviously you lose a little bit of detail and you have to sort of experiment with how long you're going to keep it in the vapor. You can be doing a cold vapor or a hot vapor as well. Hot vapor is instant gratification, 2 to 3 minutes and you'll get to there. Cold vapor is like 3 or 4 days. You sort of check on it, but then that means you control how much detail you lose. I managed to get a 3D scan of myself during the show this year.
Oh, Allergy.
Yep, LA show. So they can print them off using tools over in the US, which will use sandstone orientated material, which is coloured, or you can muck around with it yourself, which I'll do eventually when my 3D printer is going again. The other thing to think about is if you're at a school with not a lot of budget but has a 3D printer, make brackets. So they're not the best in the world. You wouldn't want to use them for putting doors on things, but if you're making like the little sort of little boxes and stuff like that, they will work for those. So if you want to use it with your 8 students, this also means that you can just take them through the process of printing a hinge. So they don't need to design it, you can just give them the hinge. They can learn the process of printing it, actually apply the hinge. Really cheap. The other option, which I haven't done myself yet, but I've done plenty of research into, and when I get a budget from the school, I'll probably do it, is hydrographics. So what happens is you put it on the top of the water, it sort of dissolves, and then you can dip it and it'll wrap around your element. So again, that's a really good way of adding effects onto the end product that you've created. So you can do it onto lots of different surfaces, including wood as well. So you might have a beautiful wood piece that you actually want to put some sort of decal-like work onto, and then you put a finishing spray on it and it becomes nice and solid. So as you can see for this 3D printed element, it creates an entirely different feel to it. There is also some interesting liquids research into it to be able to create actual jigs for dipping specifically, so that you can do all 3 sides of your material and print it perfectly onto your element. So there are stuff around like that, which I believe that's all open source as well. So if you wanted to create your own jig, you could, and I think the software was available at one point, but I'm not sure if the researchers still have it available. I think they might have realised they could make money out of it. Alright, so one of the big problems with these traditional and modern tools is I don't have something. So in my other data meetings that I've had in South Australia, plenty of other people are happy to help out. So you can send files to them, they'll be happy to print it for you. So you can network, talk to each other, find out what tools are around there. Fab Lab Adelaide is in the city on Peary Street, I think. You can do like a short course with them. I think it's about $10 for each of their devices, and then you can go in and use it anytime that they're open. So you just have to sort of pay for your own materials.
They haven't relocated down to Flinders, to
Tonsley?
Tonsley?
I'm not sure.
I think that's still, last I checked, that was still in Peary.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah.
So that's the website. Go there and check.
Because there's definitely a Fab Lab down in Tonsley as well.
Yeah. So, but like option for your students as well, not just you. Like if your students are interested in it and you can't figure out how to do it, or they're struggling to get onto the machines, all they want to do is extracurricular, direct them onto that. The other option in terms of 3D printers is 3D Labs. There's a few other 3D Hub. There's a few other ones similar to that, but there's plenty of Adelaide people there on 3D Hubs, and you can send in your files, you can choose sort of what options you want, they'll figure out the volume and the cost of the material and they'll print it out for you and just go collect it from them. So you can even do that as well. So lots of different options of being able to access these technologies even if they're not in your school. Or maybe the ones that you've got in your school have broken. Alright, that's it. So that's all the topics I covered today. So those are the major takeaways. Thank you.
I found that really interesting.
Acknowledgement for all images. So the images are not in your handouts because I just saw them on the internet. But obviously you don't have the briefs in your handouts because the briefs are client material. So while I can use it in an educational and in a portfolio process where you're taking it, I can't guarantee that it will still be okay in terms of copyright. That's it. Thank you. So you're welcome to ask me questions. Otherwise, go